first of all, thanks for being here and for all the hard work that you have put in to make this project successful this year. I'm going to ask you some questions to help reflect on my effectiveness as a leader through this project.
Okay.
All right. So what do you think went well during this whole process of the tiered behavior system that we put into place?
Okay, I took some notes.
Okay.
So let's see, we worked as a team. So that was, I think, a huge plus. You know, we all had specific jobs that needed to be completed, and so it was really a team effort. And I think that's important because that shows the kids were all on the same page. It shows parents were all on the same page. So that was good. Across the campus, we had common verbiage. If I said be safe, respectful, responsible, all the kids in every grade knew what that meant. So across the board, that was good. They knew they weren't going to get away with something just because they were in the library, because the rules applied there as well. I think, you know, we did an awesome job of rewarding students for positive behavior. We were reinforcing that by handing out the tickets.
And that was something tangible too, like
they could see it. Yes,
kind of like a sticker or something.
Right. It was very visual for them. It was visual for us as a reminder, definitely. You know, each classroom was working towards a common goal, and the entire campus was looking for ways to recognize and encourage all students. So I loved that we, you know, like in my classroom, we would work for our 100 tickets, and once we got 100, we turned it in, it was celebrated, and then we got to pick what we wanted to do. And
so kids had buy-in because
they had buy-in, they got to vote on what they wanted to do. And each day it was like they were so excited to count those tickets. How many tickets did we get today? You know, and so every day they knew they wanted to get as close to 100 as possible. And then, you know, obviously as a teacher, the competition among your peers, you want your kids to win. You know, so it was a competitive thing, but it was fun, definitely. I think it gave kids a sense of responsibility. They took ownership of their behavior. They wanted to make the good choices. And I think the whole system provided us with tools that we could use to recognize students and publicly praise them as much as possible.
That's so important right now.
Oh my goodness, especially right now after spring break, because I think, you know, we got a little complacent towards, you know, the beginning of school, we're on, boom, boom, boom. And then we kind of get into our routines and we start going, and then it's Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and then next thing you know, it's spring break, and we come back, we've all got a little springitis, and the kids do too, and we're a little burnout. And so I think just by really enforcing this and just telling teachers, hey, we can do this, we got this, you know, and it gets everyone excited again. They, you know, they're like, okay, we can do this, we can do this.
And there was something in it for them too. When we did the challenge, you know, we added the challenge to spruce things up. We kind of did a reset or a recharge after spring break, and that was really good. Like, so good. I think that's.
I mean, I think everything went as well as it could possibly go. I mean, I can't think of a way to make it better. I thought it was all very, very positive, and I heard very good feedback from all the teachers. I mean, there were a couple things, but nothing.
Of course.
Right.
So, and this kind of leads into that, what you're just saying. So what were some of the challenges like you faced as the teacher facilitator, like being in charge of that part of it?
I think the biggest pushback that I received was that they recognized that we had work to do with discipline. They knew that. They were complaining, I've got kids doing this and kids doing that. But when we presented the brag tag idea to them, it was like one more thing on their plate. And for some people, it just literally was the icing on the cake. Like they just were like, I can't do this. So we had to just kind of slowly talk them through it.
You think it was because maybe they had things like already in place in their classroom they weren't willing to let go
yes,
of?
I think several teachers already had some systems in place that were more individualized for the kids instead of it being, you know, for the whole class. And so I think just by you know, talking them through it and kind of giving them some examples of ways that it could work,
or they can incorporate or mesh what they were doing. Like I know one teacher was talking about like how she was doing class dojo, and so now she has to do the brag board, and you know
she didn't know how she could do both.
But you explained to her, and then,
and I told her I do the brag tag. The kids get the brag tags. They put them in the box. At the end of the day, we count how many brag tags our class earned, and we put them up here. And then, you know, every time a kid gets a brag tag, they get like a dojo point. Or if I see them individually doing something, they get a dojo point. And that dojo point is like a bank account of points that they can spend on kid stuff, you know, in my treasure chest. But I think that, you know, they struggle to look at it positively, but you know, and it's because they already had systems in place in their classrooms and they were just stressed. But once everything was presented to them and they got started, they really seemed to like it. And I think they saw how excited the kids were about getting them, and they recognized that there was a competition between classes and grades. I think that really helped motivate them to want to hand them out. They didn't want to be the teacher that wasn't going to do it. And it's just so easy to do. So,
yeah, and we're gonna get anything new, you're gonna get pushback, but I thought you did great, like explaining, you know, the process and giving them ideas how they can incorporate and mesh what they were already doing into this system. And plus, like you said, like this system with the brag boards and the brag tickets and the, you know, the common verbiage, that's something that we were doing across campus that they can get in PE. You know, they're hearing those things in PE, and then it transfers into the classroom and the cafeteria, and it's not something different. So
I think we're all using the same language. So I definitely think that that definitely. I think it was just positive all the way around, you know. And then, you know, at the end, you added some competition really for teachers. So it wasn't just like rewards for kids and classrooms, it was rewards for teachers as well. You know, for instance, my class won the popsicle party, and I earned an hour for lunch.
So it makes it fun for everybody.
It makes it fun. Yeah, definitely. You know, when there's a chance that you might win something, you're like, okay, yeah, sure. You know, it makes it fun. Definitely.
Yeah, there's, you know, like there's always going to be some resistance, so we're glad that we were able to talk these teachers through it and able to help them with some suggestions.
Absolutely.
But, all right. So maybe one area that I can improve on is allowing teachers to give feedback before we initially begin the planning process, maybe like in August. You know, as we're presenting this, get some feedback at the beginning.
I think that would be really good.
We did the teacher survey. But maybe adding the feedback piece, make it a little bit more personal.
I think that, you know, like I said earlier, at the beginning of the year, we're all on board. We're like, yeah, we're gonna do it. And we do it. And then we really start focusing on those kids that have those behavior issues and those challenges. And I think sometimes we forget to check in with the teachers. How are you doing? What's working? What's not working? And I think maybe just giving them, it may be just like a Google Doc. You just send it out like, hey, how are you doing? How are the behaviors this month? Is there anything you need help with? What's working? What's not working? You know, are there any concerns you have? Are there any pluses? Like what, you know, just things so that we know, and maybe we won't get to the point in, at spring break when everyone's just you know, maybe just having that check-in, and I don't know, maybe you can kind of see trends just to see how teachers are feeling as well, you know.
As we get tired.
Yes.
All right, so just one more question before we close. If you could give me one area of improvement, one thing to improve on through this process, what would it be? You mentioned like earlier, like following up with teachers,
Right.
and doing check-ins with teachers. Can you expand on that a little bit more?